the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast, a show dedicated to all such things and everything in between. Now sit back and relax and join us as we talk about weird shit. Good morning, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast. This is episode 12, I believe. In the beginning of our run, we started talking about just a little bit of government programs and astral projection. But that's a subject that's definitely near and dear to our co-host, Amanda Geezy.
I'm so excited.
I'm glad. So we decided to go a little deeper into some different programs and some stuff that we've discovered along the way.
And thanks to Isaac. But thanks for the suggestion on the 1984 remote viewing.
To Mars.
Who was it? The Air Force?
Most of the stuff I read was the Army.
It was Army.
Yeah. So anybody who's curious, we'll put the link in the description. You could go to the CIA website and get all of this information and kind of go through it yourself. I mean, it's thousands of documents, right? Mm-hmm. Thousands upon thousands. And they do that, too, because they know people give up. Same with that big UFO dump. I guess that really was a big heap of nothing. But no one was surprised. I'm sure people will be reading it for a while. I'm sure it was thousands of pages. So, I don't know. The couple things I found was interesting. One of the smaller ones I looked into was when it was 1979. And, you know, still in the midst of the Cold War. They brought in some remote viewers. Because our spy satellites and planes and stuff, I don't even know if we had. I assume they had spy satellites at that point. But they were trying to find, you know, subs and stuff in Russia. And in all these different...
Isn't Sputnik from like the 50s?
Sputnik, I believe, was like 59.
Okay.
They beat us with the satellite. Mm-hmm. That thing was, you know, that pissed off a lot of Americans. It's interesting, too. We did the space program, but it was only a main focal point through, the 70s, and boom. And we did the space shuttle missions, and then there wasn't much after that. And now it's nothing. Now Elon Musk takes us to the space station. Pretty
there's been imagine the progress we made in 100 years. We go from the first airplane to being in space, and then we stop doing shit.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. There's something behind the lines. They say it's budgets and whatever.
You know what I think? Here's what I think after reading all this stuff, especially that document that I will be focused on later. Mm-hmm. They don't need equipment to travel space. Yeah. And in fact, it is much more efficient to do it out of body.
Totally. Try to explain that to the masses, though. That's probably why they don't talk about it much.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Well, in particular, there was a sub that the U.S. government thought was around but couldn't prove. And all these different instances, what they do with the remote viewers is they just give them a sealed envelope, and they're not allowed to look at it. And so what they'll do is have some sort of information in the envelope and then give them audible coordinates. And then that's where these people remote view in. And this guy in particular said that he can see inside this bunker in northern Russia that they couldn't see through. Mm-hmm. And he saw these two giant, holes, which ended up being two sides of a submarine. And he quoted an interesting way of welding that the government didn't believe in. And so the U.S. government also didn't believe that a submarine of this size and stature could go down to depths and manage it. But it just turned out we couldn't do it. So they just assumed no one else can do it. And so, the war goes on, and they end up proving that this Soviet Typhoon submarine was an actual thing, and the guy was right. And this fucker was insane. It could hold 200 nuclear warheads, and they can shoot it at any depth. So they could be 2,000 feet down and shoot a warhead, and it would go out and fuck us up. And they were all long-range missiles, so they would just have to get within, a certain 500 miles of our coast and fuck us up.
I think, and that one is probably the most famous
Mm-hmm.
confirmed remote viewing exercise, or that's, available.
Yeah, totally. I
Because,
thought that was really interesting.
they just started and then they dove right in. Like if you look in the CIA database or whatever, you
Hmm.
search astral projection, you get thousands.
Oh yeah.
I think it was like at least, I don't know if I had narrowed down the search or something, but it was either 700 or 7,000.
Like when you go on the bottom of the page and it shows next page, next page, next page. I saw endless amounts.
Oh, just numbers.
Oh yeah. And they're all either scanned in or whatever. So it's pretty small print, so they could fit quite a bit on a page.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking A.
Oh man. So right, didn't they say it was the thing wouldn't be seaworthy because they were like welding together two ships.
Well, yeah, and they said the size of it typically. I mean, if you look at subs even to this day that go down to depths of like 30,000 feet or whatever, there's only a
Mm-hmm.
few of them that do it. I mean, they're tiny.
Mm-hmm.
They fit around the human. There's enough for, whatever their instruments are, and then that's it.
It's like James Cameron stuff.
Oh, yeah. That guy's fucking crazy, isn't he?
They're so rich. I mean, that's what rich people do.
Yeah, I don't know.
A day's worth of pay from Bezos would end like world hunger.
Yep, it's the truth. Yeah, I read he makes 2,700 bucks a second or something like that. Fuck yeah.
Absurd.
I'll just work. Let me work a second a day. I'll be happy.
But it feels to me like these people are keeping a hold of these secrets for the fact that like there's an abundant supply of all of it. And this document, they're talking about it being a holographic reality. Your consciousness
Mm.
perceives everything you experience in the format of hallucination, you know? Let me get into
All
this.
right, you go on.
So, and I was so like I first listened to this. There was a YouTube video and I was just beaming. I had to cut it in half. I could only listen for an hour and then I had to do life. And then I came back to it and it was like I jumped right back into that beam. And it come to find out at the end of the movie or at the end of the document,
Mm.
dude reveals that he had been playing binaural beats the whole time. I'm like, oh my God, I was so in tune and receptive.
Hmm.
I've
Interesting.
I've tried to sit through some other like podcasts where people are reading something to me and it lulls me to sleep.
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know I and this one I was just, and I don't know if it's because it gave me just over and over again this validation of my own experience that I've tried to verbalize, and this language is beyond me. He's very eloquent in how he explained this because he wanted to make sure these people who were reading this document understood what was happening.
Sure. What's nice
So,
when you get that validation in ways.
oh yeah, especially from the CIA.
Yeah.
Thanks, bros. So, and there's this quote: Niels Bohr, a renowned physicist, once responded to his son's complaints about the obtuse nature of certain concepts in physics by saying, "You are not thinking, you are merely being logical."
Hmm.
And this is how he leads this document, saying, like, you will need to lean more in with your right brain as opposed to the left brain logical. And that we're talking about both hemispheres of the brain right
Hmm.
now, or in the beginning of this document, or right now,
Sure.
um, is I mean, it's leading into the whole of what they're talking about here. So, and it's the gateway experience. You can still take gateway experience classes. They
Hmm.
cost like $1,000 and some dollars. You have to pay to be trained how to do transcendental meditation as well,
Hmm.
which they reference in here because
So
it's
now,
effective.
when you say the gateway process, what does that mean exactly?
Astral projection.
Sure.
That's how they're referring to it because I think astral projection was more of a like a hippie term.
Sure. Oh, that makes
So
sense.
yeah, and it was like this program developed by a guy. Um, what's his name? Oh, dang it! I just pulled up. So and the whole thing's written by Wayne McDonnell, Lieutenant Commander MI. Either that's Michigan or LTC, comma MI. Is that
Hmm.
military intelligence?
Oh, probably.
Potentially.
Yeah, I don't know.
So dude's legit.
Hmm.
And let me go into he talks about hypnosis as well. And I've been using hemisync is the technique. And the gateway process is taking people through um, a journey from beginning, middle, and then expert. Not middle, like novice.
Sure.
And he did what I did kind of just naturally.
But he put a
Um,
process to it.
yeah, I guided myself. I told you in previous episode, I used to do the Merkaba meditation. I spent like a year doing it religiously multiple times a day, every
Hmm.
day.
Sure.
And then I ended up peeling out of my body. Oh, it was the ghosts episode. What
Sure.
episode was that anyway? But he takes people on this process with hypnosis and meditation and binaural beats. He calls them hemi sync tones or whatever. And so you play one tone in one ear, a slightly different tone in the other ear, and that makes your brain listen to the difference between the tones. You aren't hearing the tones anymore. And that is called the beat
Sure.
because it's not always drums. You
So
know what I
now is
mean?
he convinced anyone can do it as well, or is he one
Oh,
of
yeah.
the... Okay. That
Yep.
seems to be the overall consensus with all
Oh
these
yeah,
guys.
it's the brain. It's the
Mm-hmm.
reality we exist in. And he's talking about when you can get your brain, your biorhythms in sync with the electromagnetic field of our planet,
Mm-hmm.
then you can permeate all of this space of the planet. So when you were talking about that the orc field or something, the orc cloud or
Or
what's it called?
yeah, Ort, ORT.
Ort, not
Yeah, Oort cloud. So yeah, that's
ort.
the end of our solar system.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But there, has a different electromagnetic field there. And we were talking about as well, going beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
you lose the concept of time.
I think we had a little illustration of that. And that was, I believe, this bad boy here. Kind of shows the left hemisphere consciousness grid and the right hemisphere consciousness grid. I suck at that word, no matter how many times I try it.
It says reduces three-dimensional holographic image to, oh, dang it. I
Yeah,
need
and
the,
it got cut off when they scanned it in. But
so
the left side acts like the mind's computer software to reduce input from right hemisphere to verbal symbols and concepts. Yeah, I was
yes.
annoyed it was cut off, but in the left we can make up the words. Go, no go.
So the waves I was just talking about, well, I would call them the beats, but the waves that you're sinking your brain into
Mm-hmm.
with the breathing and the meditation. This will take a monk 50 years or a whole lifetime of devotion to attain. And he's
Sure.
usually very old by the time he gets there.
Okay.
Enlightenment, as they call it, but really it's like interdimensional, like existence and travel, time and space. Oh,
Cool.
pull up the Spectrum one, or did you upload that?
Yep.
I love that because, and we've mentioned that several times. I feel like it's so important to realize that visible light spectrum
Mm-hmm.
is minimized to fit on that middle line there. It says gamma rays, X rays, ultraviolet, infrared, and radio
And
waves.
then the visible, right? Visible
Right.
light.
There's all of that
Mm-hmm.
external to what we experience.
And we're definitely experiencing that at the same time.
Yeah.
But we don't, not
Yeah, we
necessarily
can only see it.
processing it at, you know, with consciousness.
Mhm.
So
Our own
when
quantum
they're
computers
so essentially what you're saying is that enlightenment is their ability to get
transcend the body.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
but they get the two sides of the brain to work independently or something, and that's how they kind of, or they get it to work. I'm not
No, it's not for the brain to do independent thinking or whatever, like one hemisphere to the other. It's mainly getting your brain to vibrate in different levels than we access consciously every day.
Sure.
In the same level as the planet. And then you can go and see anywhere. It bothered me too, like reading about how they would tell these people coordinates
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to go to those coordinates. Like, are they that familiar? Were they able to like look at a map and
Yeah, I was
plot the
wondering about
course?
that too. If they were, or were they didn't really, from what I read, I didn't see any maps or anything. So
Right.
maybe these guys are just that versed.
It's just in the universal consciousness anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because
Okay, I
they
keep
weren't
trying to.
only doing it here, they were doing it on other planets.
Yeah. Yeah, like Mars.
Yep.
That's what they did, Mars in 1984. That's what Isaac told us to look up
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
because he was
liked
like,
that
there's
one.
all these tall people around.
Well, I have the transcript. If you want to go into that, or we could keep going.
Well, yeah, let's visit there because when that was in 84, right?
1984.
Mm-hmm.
And this document's also available on the DI, the CIA website in the reading room section. So when you go there, I guess that's where all this good stuff is. It's called Mars Exploration, May 22nd, 1984. And so same thing. The subject was given a sealed envelope, instructed not to open it, and then during the interview itself, um, the they call it the subject and the monitor. So the subject's the one doing the actual projection. So the monitor would give them coordinates and request information per those coordinates. And so I wrote down just an excerpt from, and they have the whole entire transcript of this interaction. It's like 7 pages long,
Mm-hmm.
but I just got some of the good stuff that I liked.
Yeah.
And so in the unedited, it's unedited. Well, it seems unedited. We don't know for sure, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so the subjects, he goes, and keep in mind this is on Mars. So he goes, I'm seeing, it's like perception of shadow people, very tall, thin. It's only a shadow. It's as if they were there, not there, but then there and then not there anymore. And then the monitor goes, go back to a period where they are there. It's a line, a lot of static on a line, and everything. It's breaking up all the time, very fragmented pieces. The monitor, just report the data. Don't try to put things together. Just report the raw data. They're already being mean to the poor guy. The subject, I just keep seeing very large people. They appear thin and tall, but they're very large and wearing some kind of strange clothing. And so as the interview goes on, the monitor wants him to look at different coordinates on Mars itself. And he noted a large obelisk similar to the Washington Monument, rounded bottom carved channels like roadbeds, and pyramids like shelters for storms. So at one point he actually described inside the pyramids, and he said he could see the shadow people hibernating, and he noted while they're hibernating they were dying,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't know it was because the resources were gone or their just time was up or they were of old age.
Yeah, he said they were all very old. They felt very old.
Yeah, and so at the very end of the thing, they revealed that he opened up the thing, and it said the coordinates were the planet Mars, time of interest approximately 1 million year BC.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were thinking the civilization was there at least 1 million years before we were. Well, we were probably running around in some form,
Mm-hmm.
but not the form we're at. And it would make
Right.
sense because their gravity's less. So we've talked about gravitation, and it would affect your size. And, if there's less gravity, then you typically can be taller. Here, they would be pretty uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
don't know. I
man,
thought
we
that was
live in
pretty
a
cool.
realm though.
Yeah.
So and it's not astral projection what he did. He remote viewed, and I feel like there's a difference there because
Oh,
he didn't
sure.
have to go out of body.
Okay. So you don't
So
think
he just,
he was just seeing it.
yes,
And so the astral projection, you're thinking, oh, you're saying it's out of body. Oh, I didn't know
it
that
is.
distinction. I was
Yes.
thinking it was kind of all the same thing.
So this guy started his research using the things that spin you and
Oh yeah.
and condition your body to feel excessive G forces.
So do you think you get different information by these two different processes?
Oh yeah.
What do you think? Why do you think the actual presence of you is different than just your mind?
So when you're remote viewing, you can go in, like there's no real direction.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're seeing something, like this man was probably seeing an echo or seeing it from some kind of behind or in between.
Sure.
So, and the guy's like, just give me the raw data. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
can't really do that in these scenarios because your brain is perceiving with its imagination, as this guy said,
Sure.
this commander. So
So when your body's there, you're actually experiencing it at different,
you
as
could
if
be
you're there.
omnipresent looking at
Yeah.
this thing and not be able to put it in terms of like he was 6 foot tall,
Okay.
because you would, maybe your perception point is subatomic,
Sure.
or in a larger sense, like the he also said too that as above, so below, the micro mirrors the macro in space.
Hmm.
So I mean, all this stuff, just listening to it and then reading it, it
I
just
think it's
made me
pretty
feel
cool.
like I'm not crazy. It's
That's good.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's
And
awesome.
I love that it also dawned on me too that baby boomers were taught to leave their kids alone and not hug them too much, or that'll spoil them. So there's a generation of kids who were left alone to cry it out and self-soothe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it came natural to me. I remember my first Kundalini awakening. He references that in this document as well. That's necessary. That's what it is when you are able to get yourself into these biorhythms that allow you to leave your body and resonate in different
Yeah.
spaces or multiple spaces.
Well, when you're left alone with your body, you kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and when you're innocent and not tainted with other people's concepts of what's real and not, as an infant, you don't know what's up or down.
I wonder
It's
if.
easy for, and I feel like that's why we got that whole generation of like, fuck that,
Hmm.
the man stuff
Yeah.
and suits and ties and shit. We're gonna have peace, love, and psychedelics.
Yeah, totally. I wonder if it would
I
be
mean,
good to test it on people in solitary confinement, or if that would just fuck them up
oh man,
because they're
I
alone
feel like they're
all
probably
day.
they're forced into it. A lot of them go through. He was talking about the Kundalini awakening, as I know of it, as Kundalini psychosis.
Now, what is that exactly?
Well,
Kundalini awakening.
psychosis. So Kundalini is when all your chakras are in alignment and you
Hmm.
get this serpentine type energy movement through your body, in and out, and those things are your chakras are spinning in opposing ways. They're all open and moving, and that's when you're able to connect with the planet and then project
Hmm.
into space,
Wow.
beyond time and space.
Yeah. So you could go to any point.
Oh yeah, instantaneously. And whenever you rub shoulders with like subatomic particles on out there, you will always be able to perceive it. They always sense each other, that quantum entanglement. Like I haven't been able to fully grasp. I mean, I knew that the guts of it,
Hmm.
but of the theory or whatever, but this made it like,
Opened more doors for you.
sure did. I
That's
was
pretty
so
cool.
excited. I'm still so excited.
Well, I've talked about it before. That's what I hope afterlife is at some point. You just get to cruise around the
Oh
universe and kind
yeah.
of check stuff out.
Yeah.
There's some
Feeling, I
cool
mean,
stuff out
it's,
there, and we don't
yeah.
know any of it.
We do though. They've been
Well,
studying this for years.
yeah, I know, but I wonder if there's even limitations to that. I
Damn near a
wonder.
century. I don't know. I mean, they've nailed it
Because I
here.
mean, I wonder if they've gone back to the Big Bang or if they've proven there was a Big Bang and.
They were talking about that's the torus
Hmm.
is the other theory of the Big Bang, or maybe another presentation of it, because it's infinite possibility out there.
I think we got a photo of that one too.
Yeah, and I'm not sure quite how to explain it. If you're compelled to look it up, but this is supposed to represent infinity
So,
as it exists, as you're able
so it's
to.
just kind of circular and just keeps going and going.
Yeah, there's
That's.
that little thing right there. It says it's our galaxy, and this
Mm-hmm.
is the. I mean, it looks like it could have
Galactic
been an
North,
like
Galactic South.
it could be mid explosion here, you know,
It says there's a white hole, so that must be the opposite of a, and that's the
black hole.
nucleus. So interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
think
yeah.
that I've heard of white holes, but I haven't heard as they usually concentrate on the black holes.
Man, I hadn't.
You hadn't heard of the white hole?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I want to read this more.
Please do. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so and this is him like leading the way before he's like preparing you for the incredible um words he shares after this. So, having gone to such great lengths to avoid trying to render judgments based on a cult or dogmatic frame of reference, in the end, I found it necessary to return, at least briefly, to the question of the impact of the gateway experience on common belief systems. I did so because, although it is essential to avoid attempting to render an assessment, yes, in the context of such systems, I felt that it was necessary, after having completed the analysis, to point out the resulting conclusions do not do any violence to the fundamental mainstream of either Eastern or Western belief systems. Like it doesn't contrast with their what they say,
Yeah.
because you can get to that Christ consciousness level and experience Jesus. And then you can, go into all those Hindu gods and deities and see them in their true forms, leaving your body,
Hmm.
and aliens and grays and Bigfoot
Yeah.
and whatnot. You can go to, I mean, and how they can come here and then like vanish. How because this is a
So,
holographic
so that gives
reality.
me
Like the
another
only,
question for you. So when you
huh?
do the astral projection, say you went to another world or something, do you think they can see you kind of pop in and out, or you think you're
Oh,
just
I do.
observer? Yeah.
I think so
So
for sure.
we're some myth somewhere else, like the Bigfoot here, going in and out.
Well,
They're like
remember
these
I was talking
fucking
about,
weird humans or whatever they call us.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That'd be
Remember I was
trippy from
telling,
the other side. That's what I'm. Yeah.
so I spooked a ghost in my mom's
I
farmhouse. I
remember
was
you
out there
talking about
smoking
that.
pot and breathing and started walking the house and got in alignment with that timeline, and I freaked her out. Whether or not she could see me or not, I could have been just a shadow that was there and then not there and then there.
That's crazy.
um yes, I'm sorry I was
So that
talking
makes
over
me.
you there
Oh
for
no
a
no
second.
no! I come up with these thoughts and I want to get them out before I forget. So that's interesting then. So do you think we're haunting ourselves?
We can.
So I guess what I'm saying is, you're leaving your body and you're checking something else out and someone sees you, but it's this timeline and this time period. So you could be the ghost to someone else.
Hmm.
That's another interesting
Yeah,
thought.
I remember when we were talking about this, you're like, I want, well, no, I wonder who said it, but it was like, if you are being remote viewed upon, chances are you can feel it. The hair stands up on the back of your neck or something.
Sure.
And
But yeah, that'd be interesting. Like you're in California and you're looking at someone in New York, but it's this time period. And so everybody's just assuming it's a dead person, but it could just be
mhm.
you.
Right, right.
That's what I would use it for, to spook folks
Yeah.
and watch them open safes.
So, right, open safes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find this where I can start with the hemisync sync technique. So they take EEG patterns of both hemispheres of the brain, and then they're stimulated like equally in aptitude and frequency, and then hemisync. Oh, oh, they adjust. There's like 3 tapes. Is this just the intro to the program?
So you're saying they
And
do EEG on it, so
yeah,
they're testing it or observing it.
as it
Hmm.
goes. I love that.
I'd like to
It's
see that. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah. There's a gradual increase in the brainwave size is measured, which is measured of brain energy or power. Lamp versus a laser, and they talk about how we walk around like lamps,
Hmm.
and this stuff turns your consciousness into a laser, so you can full blown travel eons in an instant.
So the typical person not tapping into it's just a lamp kind of turning it on and off.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Like a dim
Then when
bulb.
you learn how to hone it, you're a laser. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that beat frequency. I loved figuring that out as well because I wasn't sure what it was about binaural beats.
We'll have to listen
Or
to it with some headphones on. Really get it.
yes.
Yeah.
And after I got done with this document, like I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. It's been a while since I used binaural beats. Um, but then I got nervous. So I'm like, oh shit. I
So
had stuff to do this morning and I didn't want to be like exhausted.
sure.
Um, and
So
not to say that I ever really am after, but it was intimidating there because I
mm,
realized that, there's safety in thinking maybe I'm just making all this shit up.
yeah, totally.
And to myself, and my imagination is wild, but the imagination is the birthplace of creation.
Yeah. No kidding.
And like this is on the level of Tesla. He had visions of machines and could machine out the parts to 1,000th of an inch.
Yeah, he was pretty incredible. Well,
He
maybe
was
have to.
tapped in.
We might have to do a show on him.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
And
there was a
they
lot
talk
of info.
about, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it was pretty well documented, all his
Oh yeah.
crazy stuff that no one wanted to listen to. But he fucking invented a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And
You
then they
can't
came and
argue with
raided
that.
his office when he died.
When he
Took it
was,
all.
yeah, he died alone in like some apartment in New York or something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was
Mm-hmm.
working on remote electricity before he died. That,
Yeah.
and I've seen tests on that where they can do it still, but not at great
Yeah.
lengths. It's like I think the largest or the longest I've seen was like 100 feet or something, and that was really hard to do.
You can see Tesla coils in hieroglyphs,
Hmm.
in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. And in fact, I think it's called a jed.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure.
This they show them, they have like 3 lines on a staff that people hold. It's like the jed.
Hmm.
Um, let me read this, the consciousness matrix. So the universe is composed of interacting energy fields, some at rest and some in motion. It is, in and of itself, one gigantic hologram of unbelievable complexity. According to the theories of Carl Pribram, a neuroscientist at Stanford University, and David Bohm, a physicist at the University of London, the human mind is also a hologram which attunes itself to the universal hologram by the medium of energy exchange, thereby deducing meaning and achieving the state which we all call consciousness.
Hmm.
With respect to states of expanded or altered consciousness, such as gateway uses or drugs, the process operates in the following way. As energy passes through various aspects of the universal hologram and is perceived by the electrostatic fields which comprise the human mind, the holographic images being conveyed are projected upon the electrostatic fields of the mind and are perceived or understood in the extent that the holostatic or electrostatic field is operating at a frequency and aptitude that can harmonize with and therefore read the energy carrier wave pattern passing through it.
Hmm. It's pretty intense.
Whether that's light waves, sound waves or vibration that makes up solid matter as we know it.
Mm.
It's all perceived together in the brain. And that is, that's that hallucination
Yeah.
he's talking about. Like,
I wonder if
so,
they'll be able to, as this is studied more, the Star Trek, how they have the holodeck.
mhm.
I wonder if they'd be able to do something like that.
You
Where
do it
they,
in your brain, you do it in your bed.
oh, I know, but where you can go to some mall in fucking Iowa and get into a hologram and everything's done for you.
Yeah.
For the layman, I wonder that'd be pretty interesting.
I mean, you can do it without all the technology and
Yeah, but
machinery and
look how many people are gonna do it. That's what I'm saying. That'd be kind of cool if you can turn it into a thing.
so
It's a lot
changes
of
in the
work, right?
check this out. Changes in the frequency and amplitude of the electrostatic field which comprises the human mind determines the configuration and hence the character of the holographic energy matrix which the mind projects to intercept meaning directly from the holographic transmissions of the universe. That's that whole um uh like we hallucinate a perceived and heard, like we all see the same shit,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like that's the frequency we all exist in here. So stepping out of that will be like walking into a room, a holodeck.
Hmm.
um and they've put together a program here, at least with the binaural beats and some self-discipline. You can do it without paying a grand. You can get to do this stuff. And who knows if you'll want to go to a mall or if you'll want to go to like a distant star system and or or I mean there's no direction, or it's just it's incredible to think of.
Well, you made me think of something else that makes me wonder. Say, we're on our frequency here. Say you're on another planet and their frequency is different. I wonder if you started your astral projection at their frequency, if it's a different experience. You see what I'm saying? So we're all at
uh,
a different frequency here. Say they're on this frequency and we're on this one, but they start theirs here. I wonder if they can explore different stuff than we can explore, or if it's all
but
interchanging.
like and exist in the same dimension.
Well,
Do you mean not dimension but space?
I mean, just like like the gravity thing. So you grow up in a 10G and we grew up in 1G. You have a whole different experience. So if their frequency, say they live on, I don't know, Mars, and their frequency is 40, we'll just call it 40, and ours is 35.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you start at a different point and wave through different ways, or do you think it's all interchangeable?
I think it depends on the planet you live
Because,
on.
well, that's what I'm saying, because you're saying
Yeah,
our planet has a frequency.
right.
So, hmm,
But I mean the planets go through cycles
that's true too.
as they circle their suns.
And I
And
wonder,
every star potentially has planets that circle it. Like that's how this shit works.
sure.
And as above so below, it's like the atomic, it's the mirroring. So, and let me finish just one last thing here. Then, to make sense of what the holographic image is saying to it, the mind proceeds to compare the image just received with itself. Specifically, it does this by comparing the image received with the part of its own hologram which constitutes memory. Oh, there's more. Well, by registering differences in geometric form and in energy frequency, the consciousness perceives, see exhibit 2 on next page, as psychologist Keith Ford puts it, contrary to what everyone knows is so. It may not be the brain that perceives consciousness, but rather consciousness that creates the appearance of the brain.
Hmm,
I love it. I love it. I love
I
it.
like that way
We
of
are the
thinking of it.
imagination of ourselves, Bill Hicks.
Hmm.
And
Well,
if you
that's a
can
good.
get, you can leave your body and expand beyond its parameters and permeate the room you exist in before you move outward or onward or whatever direction you intend. Um, it certainly seems like it's all holographic.
Hmm.
And me saying that I feel like I'm more, and I felt this way since I was a kid, that if this all feels more like a realm to me than it does, um,
Being present or
like we're floating on a rock in space, you know,
yeah.
driving our cars to fucking work. It
I
always seemed a little thin to me.
yeah, I've often, you know, think that this isn't real or like you have these moments of like, what the fuck?
Hmm.
I often, you know, question our reality. But then you
Yes.
also, I don't know, you begin to embrace it and it's your reality and it's yours and you want it to go certain ways. But with all this stuff, you can affect how it goes. And I like that idea of it. You're always
I
talking
think
about, you know, what the hell's the word you always use?
synchronicity.
No, about making things happen.
Oh, manifestation.
Manifestation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that idea.
X2, our guest,
He believed
he
in
was,
it greatly
he,
too.
well, yeah, he's like, I've proved it with my equipment, but couldn't tell us how,
Yeah.
which
I'm
I
still
get. And
waiting
I
for the
can't wait till
invite.
he can,
Yeah. No.
But the thing that is kind of like looming over this for me is they were studying this. This was back, wait, what was the date?
Well, almost every person we've brought up on this show has studied in one way or another, going back a long time. This one's just actually a program which put it into words and documents and stuff.
This was published June 9th, 1983, or written.
Mm-hmm.
But so what is that? Damn near 40 years ago?
Yeah.
People have been working on this, and we are inundated with lights and strobing lights and sound,
Well, and that's
you
just
know?
our documents. Who knows what else is going on in the world?
Yeah, and they could even be using sounds and lights and stuff we can't see. And we hold these things at all times, and we're facing screens. Like I had
Mm.
watched that entire reading of that document unknowingly sitting through binaural beats
Mm.
that probably elevated me to a place to be ultra receptive. You can also use different beats to heal your body or to draw in money. And I've used them before. I've been doing more hypnosis than I have been binaural beats. I'm getting the same kind of results as I
Mm.
did. It just seems to be a different era in my life, and almost like I need to master. Next is transcendental meditation, and that's the three that they talk about using in the
Mm.
CIA.
Yeah.
But the ability to manipulate people without knowing, so that we all stay in this specific frequency where, say, just a few are living this glorious abundant life while the rest of us are kind of um not,
Yeah. No.
and walking around absolutely unconscious of the power, the divinity. I hate to call it divinity, but that's what it is. For lack of a better word, it's the spooky shit. That's what I call it. But
No.
there's so much more to life, and so many tools that we could have access to within our own imagination.
Well, it's. I guess I would believe more in the powers that be suppressing that than other things.
Right, like
But I don't.
aliens, who gives a shit?
I just don't know. Yeah. No kidding.
When you can astral project and go there and like see.
Well, but it also brings up the question: why wouldn't you want an entire planet of enlightenment or a good portion of it? Doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, what's the motive?
Yeah.
Except ego, like existing in this realm, it's all very egocentric, and keeping people, maybe it's that battery stuff, unused consciousness in the masses. Maybe it elevates those who tap in. There's no traffic, maybe
Oh. Well,
it's just greed, or I don't know.
I guess I could buy the traffic thing because if everybody's doing it, it might muck up the works.
But I can't believe I lost sight of this. I believe that this is a school, this realm, the Earth School.
Yeah.
Like we're here to feel pain. We're here to experience life on this beautiful planet, to touch it and interact with it
Yeah,
as
definitely.
divine creatures. We are the aperture with which
It's
God or the
so
universe or what
it's so
have you
easy to
views
lose sight of that
itself.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of us don't embrace, I find myself more and more just stopping and just observing the
Mm-hmm.
world around, taking in a deep breath. It's very nice.
Mindfulness. Yes.
But then you just go on your way.
Right.
Yeah. There's so much out there for us. Lots of beauty
Yeah.
and
What a gift to be
experience.
alive to experience this now. And just imagine if you got all the cheat codes and could then live that lavish billionaire lifestyle if you were so bold as to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And not even just ask for it, but like breathe yourself into that resonance where it's drawn to you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
It's
nice.
Yeah,
I think
it
I'd
takes
be a nice
practice.
billionaire.
Takes practice.
I don't
It'd be
think I'd.
nice to ascend to a place where you don't need money.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's the big holdup. They
Mm-hmm.
know that if we are all on the same page, then we're like, well, this is stupid. We don't need any
Mm-hmm.
of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Feel like we might be shifting into that way or that. And I was like, why? I keep kind of trying to wrap my head around why the powers that be would want to keep us all blind, but it's a game. People get caught up in games all the time.
Yeah.
Those who are playing it, those of us who don't know we're the pawns in it, are like,
Just,
I don't know.
yeah.
We can wake up and be like, you know what? I'm done playing your games. I'm
Yeah.
going to get some of that space action.
That'd be pretty cool. Get up in that space. What a weird thing that they're all the billionaires are trying to get into space.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Elon Musk. He's like, all right, you guys have fun. He's like, I'll try it out in a couple years.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about space and like the space station and just going into orbit? He talks. Have you? I like following him because he's like the alpha male, which isn't usual in the scientific community.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, that's not fucking space. He's like, I'm not. If I'm going to space, I'm going to Mars. Don't be bringing me up in an airplane. This is
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. He talks shit on all those guys all the time. It cracks me up.
Like, go land on another planet.
He's like,
You
that's
think that's
fucking
space?
space. He's like, even the space station's nowhere near space. It's great. I don't know,
Wow.
but I would like to. I wouldn't mind doing it. You guys
Hmm.
start giving us a little money, and when in a couple of years we'll go up on that Virgin Galactic, it's gonna be like 200 grand a seat. So we only need
Yeah.
400 grand.
We can start like having one of them thermometers,
Oh yeah, on the side.
like $1.
That's
It wouldn't go up.
no, we get our dollar maybe.
Yes. Yes. What am
Yeah,
I saying? Why am I standing in the way of manifesting that shit?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
All
hate
right.
to. Yeah,
Yeah. There was more I wanted to
I would do
share
it though if I was in that position, for sure.
because they talk
And
about,
when they
sorry, go
talk
ahead.
about that transcendental meditation, a lot of those guys do it.
Hmm.
Even Seinfeld's a huge guy, which I always
Oh,
thought was
yeah.
very interesting.
He's like, that's the only way I pulled off what I did
Yeah.
with Seinfeld. All right, I want to read the conclusion of this document. And I hope as well, Patrick, that you'll remember. And please, if you're watching this, check the description box for the link to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think in section 20, they talk about Christ consciousness. Um, and after that, somewhere, there's only like 30 sections. Um, but you can skim through and find this stuff. They also talk about the cosmic egg being the shape of our universe. I saw that in a DMT trip.
Hmm.
And also, it kind of looked like this. I think you might have had it to show.
Oh yeah.
Pull that up for me and then
I
I'll read
believe
this while
so.
it's up.
I'll go through all our photos while we're at it.
Yeah, just cycle through them. There's a nice meme, not meme, but a quote with a picture. It's a meme, I guess.
That's the one
There
you're
it
looking
is. That's
for.
the one.
So
Let
yeah,
me
it
get
shows
up
the
to it
black
too.
hole on one side and the white hole on the other. And then it shows your universal hologram that you've been talking about.
Yeah. So, and he's talking about that top picture is a photograph of a quasar emitting a jet of matter.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So, and that's what these astral projection that's what they're calling is like you're instead of a lamp or a laser, you create a tube. Um, and when I was a kid and I would astral project, I often had like a silver tube connecting to me in the middle somewhere. It wasn't like in the abdomen because I didn't quite have a body, or my awareness of myself wasn't in any kind of shape. But I definitely was connected to planet Earth as far out as I ventured. And I would just for fun go where there were nebulas and pretty colors, and I always say I splashed around in them and stuff. But anyway, I got to flip it sideways. So, in conclusion, there is sound, rational basis in terms of physical science parameters for considering Gateway to be plausible in terms of its essential objectives. Intuitional insights of not only personal, but of a practical and professional nature would seem to be within the bounds of reasonable expectation. However, a phased approach for entering the gateway experience in an accelerated mode would seem to be required if the time needed to reach advanced states of altered consciousness is to be brought within more manageable limits. That's DMT. It does it in 3 hits,
Yeah.
and you have the access. It is a gift from nature, and it exists in every living thing. I think for that, like that's that the psilocybin too, only different. It's like a different frequency with the mushroom, and they call it the flesh of the gods. DMT is almost like the soul of the gods,
Yeah.
or I don't know. It's just the portal.
Everyone I've talked to sure describes it that way.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
There's, and what they've described here, golly, and what I saw, I'm like, this is absolutely like it's universal stuff other people could come here and look at.
So do they
This is not in
mention
my mind.
in any of those documents, do they use any kind of drugs or
No, this
mind
is all
altering?
they use hypnosis,
Mm.
transcendental meditation, and that hemi sync they call it. I've
Mm.
always called it brain sync, or maybe it's just a different company that patented that stuff.
Sure.
Anyway, so a phased approach for entering the gateway, blah blah blah. Uh, is to be brought within more manageable limits from the standpoint of establishing an organization wide exploitation of Gateway's potential. The most promising approach suggested in the foregoing study involves the following steps. A, begin using the eight-way or the gateway hemisync tapes to achieve enhanced brain focus. You can find all of that stuff on YouTube. Then add strong REM sleep frequencies, and you can find those in the specific lucid dreaming videos on YouTube.
I need to look
Um,
into that one.
yep, I'll send you some good ones. Provide hypnotic suggestion designed to enable an individual to induce deep auto hypnotic states as well. And I do that now that I've been apparently training my brain with hypnosis.
Mm.
Use auto hypnotic suggestions to attain much enhanced focus of concentration and motivation, and rapidly progressing through focus 12 exercises. And I find that interesting, that they go up 12 steps. Um,
And so you
and
can
that
find all that information, how to get all that stuff all on YouTube, or is that program you were talking about? You can pay like $1,000.
you can
Either
pay and have
way,
them take you through what they've established here at the CIA and been studying and
how do you
testing since the 80s.
did it say how to get a hold of those guys?
I mean, go to the Monroe Institute or Gateway Experience, Google that, and you'll find it.
Okay.
First thing it comes up. And it's a legit company. I guess it's been going since then.
Wow.
And
And that was that army fella that started it? Was it after he
well, they tried to he was tasked with explaining this shit and why it worked to people who had no idea and could not fathom how that man say in this was it set no it was 84. See, this was in 83,
Mm-hmm.
so they must have put him to the test or put it to the test heavy in the 80s with that remote viewing of the Soviet sub.
That was
No, the no
70.
no no that was
Yeah.
in 79. That was in
That was the
79.
Mars one. Yeah.
The Mars one was in
Yeah.
the 84. Okay, yeah. They were like, ooh, let's go peek in on Mars if we can peek in on the Soviets. Like, yeah. And
Yeah.
imagine what they did after that.
I'd find that much more interesting.
Full
Well, who
blown.
gives a shit about what we're
And
doing here?
and then he says, so step E, then repeat steps A and B, which is the brain sync and then the lucid dreaming. Um,
So you kind of get to a certain point
but
with
you
your
add at this,
training and then
you
you go
add,
back. Interesting.
and then you add at this point the suggestive oh, then repeat steps A and B following the use of the auto hypnotic suggestion that an out of body movement will occur and be remembered. It's like you have to tell yourself this stuff for it to work
Hmm.
and then believe it to be so. And that's how you manifest anything, especially apparently out of body movements. And they say going through this process, whether you go to that school or kind of do it organically yourself, once you've done it, your body remembers how to do it. And I remember telling you that I would do this 17 breath Merkaba meditation with all these mudras. And then going through it, there's kind of a script with each breath. You have to say either a series of numbers or you physically say stabilizing, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have to do that anymore. And I didn't have to. I haven't done that meditation in a long time, but it's like it starts up like an old Chevy, like, and then
Hmm.
this, energy disc is around me because I
Wow.
have breathed myself into it, even without using the mudras and stuff.
Well, that makes sense. Just like anything else, muscle memory. In this case, it's, you know, meditation memory or whatnot.
Yeah. I don't want to dig through this document either if you're watching it, if you're so compelled to. Focus 15 and focus 21 objectives. Like that's the escape from time space and interact within new dimensions. That's like the blueprint for how you do it. Those two steps. It's weird. Because I was wondering if they were going to like go through this series of like 15, 16, 17, 18. It was just focus 15 and then focus 21.
Hmm.
So I wonder if those were like two successful trials in a string of non-successful
Oh, that would make sense.
trials.
That'd make a
So
lot of
I
sense.
encourage pursuit of full self-knowledge. Oh no, this all encourages um, full self-knowledge by all individuals involved in the foregoing experience to enhance objectivity in out-of-body observation and thinking. That's why you have to practice it, because otherwise you could be interdimensionally trans or like traveling and not know what you're looking at
Mm.
in that void of dreamless sleep. That's probably what's happening. You just can't translate it. Like you can't see the Mayflower as a native on the shore of the Americas.
Well, that makes sense.
So be intellectually prepared to react to possible encounters with intelligent, non corporal energy forms when time space boundaries are exceeded.
Hmm.
Arrange to have groups of people in Focus 12 state unite their altered consciousness to build holographic patterns around sensitive areas to repulse possible unwanted out of body presences, which is interesting. To get to this place, I guess you don't need to be that pure. Remember, I was like, if aliens came here, they'd have to come from a place of just, divine being,
Mm.
no greed, no What is it? What is it? It starts with a, like, where you hate on other people for certain things.
What, envy or I don't
No,
know,
shoot.
just what my grandma lived on?
Yeah,
Just shit
all our
talk. Yeah.
grandmas.
I mean,
Prejudice,
oh, there we go. Well, it makes sense though.
criminy. But they,
I mean, if
give them some brain sync and some binaural beats, and your shitty fucking stepbrother can go and
well, yeah, I was gonna say it's
bang
kind
some
of.
alien mom.
I mean, if you follow it, it doesn't mean if if the process is there, it doesn't mean that you have to be a good person. I guess interesting
Yeah,
or whatever good being. Hmm.
but I wonder if earthly egoic um intent can travel with you. It's almost like that stays in the fabric of the holograph, the
Hmm.
holographic brain here that we leave behind.
Well, I hope so.
Me too.
Yeah.
But that was part of their experience was, and apparently Focus 12 is the shield project
Hmm.
that worked or something. So encourage more advanced gateway participants to build holographic patterns or successful attainments and rapid progress for advanced colleagues to assist them in progressing through the gateway system. And that's that, like, I don't like that they're charging people for it, but it's almost like how else are you going to get in touch with these people in particular
Yeah.
who've
Well,
gone through this
yeah.
training?
Well, it probably weeds out the serious people too.
Yeah.
So that's probably a better way of going about it.
Here's the last sentence in the document. If these experiments are carried through, it is to be hoped that we will truly find a gateway and to the realm of practical application for the whole system of techniques which comprise it. Wait, did that make sense? If these experiments are carried through. Oh yeah, they're like basically saying if you do this, if you do the steps that we've um discussed here, you will interdimensionally travel. You
Hmm.
will leave your body. You will transcend existence.
Well, it's extremely intriguing, that's for sure.
It's amazing. I loved reading it. I loved diving into this.
Oh yeah. Well, and I encourage other people to do it. I'll definitely put the link in the description.
Yes.
I think a good way to end the show would be I'm gonna read this quote here.
Cool.
It says, "All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is in the matrix of all matter." I think that's very beautiful, and I hope it to be true. Thank you for joining us this week to the Abnormal, Strange, and Weird podcast. Go to aswcast.com, go to Green Tarot 303, and give Amanda some money.
No, Green Heart Tarot 333.
God damn it, I had it memorized. We have 1 week off, and I fucked up. Say it again.
Green Heart Tarot 333.
What did I say? Green Girl Lady?
Green Tarot 303.
Well, anyways.
Way off.
We'll see you guys next time.